Okay, we're going to get started. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Today we have our Using Quick Properties with Civil 3D Tips and Tricks webinar. To start, I have a couple of updates. Because this is a public presentation, we will have all mics muted. If you look at your go-to control panel, you'll see a question box and a chat box. If you have any questions, please feel free to enter them in either of these locations. We have allocated time at the end of the webinar for Q&A. We are ZenTek Consultants, a premier technology consulting firm providing innovative technology solutions to the Canadian CAD BIM construction marketplaces. Our focus is to increase our clients' efficiencies, which in turn leads to increased productivity. I'm Steve Fahey, based in Halifax. I manage our Canadian operations. I invite you to visit our website to learn more about our company and our offerings. Also, don't forget to follow ZenTek Consultants CA on LinkedIn to stay up to date on all of our upcoming webinars. I invite you to take a look at our ZenPipe for Civil 3D Pressure Network solution. It comes with description fields for all components that will work with your current Civil 3D styles. It makes the Civil 3D Pressure Network much easier to use. To learn more about our ZenPipe solution, please visit our website and watch our demo video. If you're looking to get more out of your training investment, our unique approach will help you maximize your return. Contact us today for a better way to learn. I'm pleased to have Jim Coppinger joining me today. Jim is a founding partner of ZenTek Consultants. He has in excess of 30 years experience implementing and supporting technology in the CAD BIM construction fields. He has published multiple articles and has been a guest speaker at Autodesk University on the topics of Civil 3D and document management. At this time, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Jim so he can show you using quick properties within Civil 3D.
All right, excellent. So I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to switch presenter here. Give me one moment and I'm going to, there we go. All right, Steve, can you see that screen okay?
Yes, I can.
All right, excellent. So thank you guys for joining us today. And what I want to talk to you guys about is this concept of quick properties for Civil 3D. Now, quick properties, it's not a new concept. It's been around in the Autodesk world for quite a number of years now. But I'm always surprised by how many folks in general just don't know about it or don't use it. And I think it's a particularly useful tool when you're working with Civil 3D, right? We're all familiar, anybody's worked with AutoCAD, right? I've actually got my quick properties already turned on, didn't even realize I had it on. We're all used to going in and right clicking on items and getting the properties, right? Going in and going to the, basic property set, right? That we can bring up and see what's going on. Right? And that's fine, but those are really AutoCAD based properties that you're really looking at and working with here. And quick properties is great. It's exactly as you see, right? As I go in and I'll just pick on a basic kind of a polyline here. You see, it can bring up some basic information about your item, whatever object you have selected on screen here. And I'll show you guys how to turn it on and how to set your default options, so on in just a minute. But what really I think throws people is they look and go, well, okay, it gives me basic information about like what layer it's on, what the item is. It's really not that important to me. I don't care. And they'll turn it off and never look back. And I think that's a big mistake, particularly with Civil 3D, because when we're dealing with Civil 3D, we're dealing with these intelligent three-dimensional models and objects and line types that really have a lot of data inside of them, right? And we've learned over the years different ways of finding that data and being able to parse out the information we need using ribbon panels and different procedures. So for example, if I want to get on a surface, if I want to go in and I want to find out what is the highest elevation point, what's the lowest elevation point in that surface, right? I can go to the surface properties, right? I can go in and right click and go to the surface properties, right, and bring up that dialog, and I can go to the statistics page and I can go to the extended statistics, and here it is. Right? These are things that you can find. Right? There's nothing dramatic about what we're doing here, but those are steps that you have to learn. You have to know, you have to go through 4 or 5 different steps to find the data about these Civil 3D objects. And that's where quick properties can really dramatically improve your everyday operational process by customizing it out to show the data that you're going to be interested in with just clicking on any given object, right? So let's go in first. I'm going to show you guys. So to begin with, if you don't have the quick properties turned on, if you go to the customization, these kind of 3 lines at the bottom right-hand corner of your Civil 3D screen, you see you can actually turn the quick properties on right here. Just hit the checkbox, right? And you see it will add the quick properties, or you can also use QP mode down here in the bottom, right? And when you click on that, you see it's just a toggle to turn quick properties on and off. Okay, and you can right click on this and go to the quick properties settings. All right, and that's really what I want to talk about here first. All right, so the first thing that I tend to do is, all right, you can display the quick properties on selection, all right, of any object or only objects that have quick property items set on them. This way, I don't ever have to look at it. When I click on these items, the quick properties dialog is instantly going to pop up. And I can have that come up either where my cursor is on the screen, and I can set kind of an offset to it, or I can set it to a static location, meaning it'll come up wherever the last point was, which is what I tend to use. All right, so you can set the, the general options there for the quick properties, right? And I'm going to go in and now I'm going to just start picking on a few of these items. You kind of saw it a little bit because I did have it on. But you see, I'm working with a very basic Civil 3D drawing here. I got a basic alignment. I've got a feature line floating here. I've got some, Kogo points, and obviously I've got a surface running, okay, a tin surface. So nothing, that's out of the usual stuff we use every day, but we can really make getting information and even editing and changing display styles and items like that much, much simpler with the quick properties box, right? So if I go in and I'm going to, click on this alignment, and you see that automatically what happens is that I have it set for a static location. See, it's up in there, and if I move that, right, and then I can hit escape to kind of clear it, then when I come up the next time, because it's set for static, it'll come up in that same location wherever I have. So I tend to use it up here in the top right corner of my screen. Right? And you see whenever I hit escape off of an object, right? And it'll give me the properties for different items. So you see it tells me this is a feature line, this is an alignment, etc. But like I said, right out of the box, and I don't know why Autodesk does this, but they do, but right out of the box, they're not really useful data. When I click on alignment, it says, okay, it's an alignment. Right? And one thing that I do want to point out is that not all of these are just informational boxes. A lot of these you can actually go in and change. So for example, here, the style, right, which right now is set for an proposed alignment. You see how quickly I can just click on it and I can change it. So if I want that to be, right, an existing roadway, I can just switch it, right, so that its display style is now set for an existing road. Okay, so I can even basic items like that, right? I can change the name, right? I can add a description to it if I need to. See, it pops up in the description dialog, and I can even switch the layers for these. Well, that's kind of nice. I get some basic functionality here. That's great, right? And I'll get different functionality, when I click on a Kogo point, okay? When I go in, I click on a surface, right? You see, I get slightly different data, but it's nothing mind-blowing. Well, the real power here comes in customization and really having Civil 3D show you the data and the properties regarding these Civil 3D objects that you need to work with. And the way you do that is, you see right up here, you got kind of like, it says CUI. If you can kind of see that, it's a little CUI. It's like a little screen and window setup, right? If I go over here and hover over it, it's just going to say customize, right? And when I click on the customize box, it actually brings up the standard CUI editor. But the great thing about doing it from that point is it takes me directly to this list that you see over here on the right-hand side, right over here. And you see, because I was on a tin surface when I chose it, it took me right to the tin surface setting. And you see that it gives you this list of all the different types of Civil 3D objects. So you can go in, and on the right-hand side, you can see the ones that are turned on. These are the ones we were seeing, right? Style, name, description, and layer. Those are basic kind of AutoCAD almost features, right? What's really nice here is that I can go in and I can say, look, I need more data than that when I click on a surface. So if I want to go in and, like I showed you before, I need to know what the minimum and maximum elevations are. All I have to do is turn those on in my quick property, say apply, and okay. Now when I go in and I select my surface, right, I'm going to go in and click on my surface, and you see that now it's automatically giving me the high and low elevations. Right? And again, this is a resizable box. I'm just going to kind of slide it over and make it a little bit bigger if I can. And my mouse, because I'm screen sharing, isn't really letting me, but all right. I can also go in here, I can adjust these, get a little bit more, right? But you see that I can easily go in here and I can see what those are, and I can still go in and I can still change the style. So if I want this to be, a 1 in 5 design, style, right? Or a 2 and 10, or I want to show contours and triangles. So I can do all of the basic editing that I need right here to change display and label styles if that's what I need to do. Right? And I can do this for any civil 3D object. So if I go in and let's say we're going to do an alignment. So I'm going to click on the alignment and then I'm going to go customize. Same exact thing, but now you see it brings me up on the alignment. And I can change these and I can go through and kind of set everything that I need. And I do recommend that you guys do this. Take a few minutes and go, and it doesn't take more than like 20 minutes to set everything up one time, and it'll save as part of your menu structure. I can go to every single type of civil 3D objects, assemblies, right, grading, surfaces, parcels, and decide what information I want. So if I'm looking at an alignment, well, you know what's important for me to know about alignments? Right? It's got, again, the same basic style, name, description layer, very minimal data out of the box. But you know what I do need to know? I do need to know what site it's part of. I probably want to know what the overall length of an alignment is. I definitely need to know what the current design speed is on a given alignment, okay? And maybe I want to know what the start and end stations are, right, for my alignment. I just apply that and say, okay. And now when I go in, right, and I click on my alignment, instantly my quick properties just comes up and there's all the data that I will normally need to work with. I know what site it's in, I know the length. You see it's starting at 0, it's going to 2399.08, right? And I can still have the editable fields that I can change up here as well in terms of the style and the layer and so on. Right? And I can do that for everything, right? If I go in and say, let's see what kind of data do we want to work with on Kogo points, right? I just click that customize button and here in Kogo points I can say, all right, what do I want to know? All right, well, you know what? Right now it's showing me the name, the description, the style. I also want to know the point number and the point label style. And what else may, and you see down here, I can get coordinate scale factors. Maybe I want to know what the full description of that point is, whether or not it's a survey point, right? You see, I can do things that, hey, I also want to get, the Latin long. I really want a lot of data about points. See, points hold a lot of information, right? We've got a lot of options for Kogo data, right? And I just apply that and say, okay. Then whenever I go in, I pick on a point, even though the point's on my screen right here, I don't know what this point is. It's just an X. I know there's a point there. It's all right. I can just click on the point and get all the data that I want. Okay. Oh, and for some reason, oh, it did. Yeah, okay, it did. So you see there, I've got the point number, the description, right? This doesn't have, the full description is ground, right? My point label style, it doesn't have one, but I can easily turn one on, say, hey, give me the point numbers. Okay. So you see how easily I can go in and modify this stuff without having to go up to the ribbons and find all the different features and functions. Same things with something as basic as like a feature line. Again, you see, I just get the style, the name, and the layer by default, but I can easily go in and say, look, there's a lot more information that I want. Right? I need to know, how many points there are, what site it's in, what's the overall 2D and 3D length, right? What are the highest, minimum elevations, maximum elevations and grades? A lot of data I want, and I can just apply that. Then whenever I go in and I pick on any feature line in my entire setup, I just click on it. And look, there's all the data. Now you can see that this one, it's a flat structure right now. There are no slopes, there are no grades, right? But if I go in and I want to, edit the feature line and edit the properties and go to an elevation editor, right? I can bring in the elevation editor. Oops, sorry, went up on my other screen, right? And if I want to go in and start changing, elevations, right? Right? I'll go in and change, this middle elevation to, I don't know, 300. We'll get something crazy and extreme on it, right? And say, okay, right? But you can see that now that I've made basic design changes with other tools, the reporting is giving me exactly what's the steepest grade, what's the highest elevation, okay? Minimum elevation is still at 0. I've got some 0 points. That's the kind of stuff that you really do have to spend a lot of time using what we call traditional, ribbon-based civil 3D tools, right? That you can really make much, much simpler and much more useful just by enabling the correct settings within your quick properties. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's it, and it will work, like I said, for literally every single type of civil 3D object. You can just go in here and go to the options, right? You can turn it on and off. You can set the basic display, and like I said, pick on any item, right? And set whatever defaults you want. And like I said, go in, go to the CUI, and work your way from top down. Go through every single type of civil 3D object, corridors, feature lines, grading, intersections, section views, sample lines, and pull the data and enable the data here on the right that you need to work with. All right, and that's it. All right, and with that, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to turn everything here back over to Steve to kind of take us out of here and handle questions. Steve, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jim. That was excellent, and very, very much ties into our focus on increasing your efficiency using the technology that you already have, making yourself more productive. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. As you can see on the screen here, we've got our website, our 1-800 number, my email. Feel free to reach out anytime with any questions you may have. We're here to help you, and we want to make you more productive. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.